go. All right. Hi, everybody. It's me, Sam, on Penny for a Tale, and tonight we have Witch and Craft Games with us, and we are going to be promoting their Kickstarter that has just recently launched, called how would you say, XII?
No, it's 12. It's 12.
Mhm.
It's a Roman number for 12.
Perfect. 12 inner demons. So we are super excited to have them, and tonight we will be interviewing two of the creators of this 4-creator group. So hi guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves, kind of say like what you do and what was the first game that started you on this journey?
Oh, that's gonna be a long one. Okay.
Great.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start since I'm the lead, I guess, of the team. I'm Amelia. And about a year ago, more or less, me and a few other guys here in Rome tried to get a completely different game funded. It didn't really work for a variety of reasons, but once the project was more or less stopped, I was still wanting to do something to make a game, and so I went to my playtest group, which
That would be
was
us.
Xoco and a few other people. Only one of them is actually in the development team. And I was like, I want to do something, and it might not work, but you know what? Why not try? And the whole gist of the game is that a few years ago, I pitched the idea for 12 to show as a comic book that we never did because, like every other great idea, we completely forgot about it. But
Life.
yeah, I also was working on other things, so I kind of shelved it. And once we were like thinking about what game do we want to do, the plot for 12 came out. I was like, you know, this kind of sounds like a good setting for a game, and we kind of ran with it, I suppose.
I remember
and the rest
too.
is history.
I remember too. Some of the early art sketches for 12 were repurposed
yeah.
pieces of art for that comic.
Oh yeah, sure. There's still pages somewhere, I think.
I think I have some of them saved. I think I have some of them saved.
The first
that's
page I did was forwarded to my teacher, my comics teacher, and he thoroughly destroyed it, like mercilessly. He was right about it, but still.
You're like, oh, a little bit of. Give me some positive.
No, not even a bit. Oh, he was right though, but kind of sucks to hear. So anyway, I guess we went along with it, and in a few months we started this project, and here we are.
Ooh, what is that noise?
Oh, that's something extremely loud. Wow.
Well,
That's fine.
Some kind of
like
missile.
kind of demonic sound.
Yeah.
fitting.
Well,
given
let's
the
hope
subject
not.
matter.
It is fitting.
Can
A
you
game
shut
about
me
your
the-
inner
Can you
demon.
shut me the window? Yeah. Hopefully my inner demon is not so literal anyway. But yeah, that's the other thing about this game, right? It's one of the things they teach you, at least in the school I went to when it comes to comics, that you will never be able to tell a story that you have not lived.
Mhm.
And 12 is very much about things I've gone through. It's very much about that kind of sensations that many people who go through rough periods of their lives are familiar with. And it's an attempt to exercise this through a game, I suppose.
Oh, that's just such an amazing concept, and sort of the thing that drew me towards your game is just, we've all been locked in our houses for the past couple months during this pandemic.
Extremely.
And so seeing a game that sort of handles your inner demons and going through the trauma and just your whole concept of stress and those type of roles was just extremely fascinating, because I feel like at least many of us have been a lot more introspective just with everything. So it would be definitely interesting just to see how that mechanic sort of works in gameplay. What made you kind of want to have a game about internal trauma? That it seems like something that would be really difficult for some people to kind of explore.
Yeah, well, the first draft of that comics was about a girl struggling with these demons that were nothing more than her personal issues, creating visions, creating beings. And it's not something easy to get through on a personal level, but I also feel like if I want to give something like a game to other people to play, to enjoy, I also kind of want them to have something that helps them in a way. And I think 12 might actually be able to help people and help them go through things, help them realize things about them. Like, I should know something about realizing things you didn't know about yourself. And I think many people are in the same situation. And if we can ever like get one people to discover something about them through this game, I think it's really a success.
No,
As
yeah,
well, part of it in the end comes to like with 12 and with the idea of how to make a game in which you're dealing with all these personal problems and all these very honestly can be quite difficult things. It's interesting to look at. A lot of it was how we looked at how the players interacted with them, how mechanically and design wise you could turn an encounter that made you deal with a problem into something that was both fun or interesting for the players to deal with, but also had multiple ways of dealing with it. One thing that's been a little running side thing, at least in the playtest, that has been interesting to see is that every problem in 12 stems from the players, from their characters. But at the same time, every problem can be solved by just dealing with the root of the problem. Sometimes it takes a significant threat of demonic monstrosity and horrible otherworldly changing nonsense to deal with just the personal problem.
Oh, that's great. That's been my issue. It's just you guys on here know that I am totally open about going to therapy, and my thing I tell my therapist is just like, it's easier if I just ignore it and it will go away, but not in this game. It definitely would manifest into something.
This is the gamification of extreme urgency, I suppose. Of being unable to participate. It's not just traumas. It's also like, I think many people find themselves in situations of feeling kind of mired in, feeling kind of without ways to go on, without ways to go forward. And it eventually gets to the point where you either sink or swim in a way. And this is also what this game is all about, actually taking matters in your own hands.
There's only so much of ignoring the problem you can do when the problem doesn't allow itself to ignore you.
That is very true. Yeah. And I think that's what is so great about this game is just, you think, oh, this is a horror game. This is just something that's going to be dark and scary. But it has sort of that positive aspect of it where you are dealing with that and kind of exploring that in a kind of a safe environment, So what has been one of the biggest obstacles you guys have found that you kind of hadn't anticipated as you've been developing this game and going forward with it? Getting the good questions.
There's been a few things. Like it obviously is not easy. I guess handling stress is not easy. Making stress everything, because stress is the only stat in the game. There is no other statistical measurement, numerical measurement, except for stress. It's your health, and it is something that also influences your roles. Everything is stress, and you spend stress to do something, and you gain stress from doing other things. And balancing the levels of stress going up and down. How much stress can you get by resting? How much stress shouldn't you lose? What can make you lose or gain stress? Yada, yada, yada. This is, I think, the hardest part of balancing this game, balancing stress. In fact, I think we will end up putting some sort of build it yourself in the game, in the sense that, do you want this game to be harder? Do you want it to be easier? Okay, stress goes up, stress goes down.
In
to
that too,
cater to different players, I guess.
In that too, a big part of that was also figuring out how much we could add in of the very, because stress is a very nuanced thing. Adding in that much nuance without horribly overcomplicating the game. There were some early tests where we had a lot of rules for how things worked that we had to prune down, or other things like that, where we just had to keep with our big goal has been keeping it simple, keeping it so that it's simple and quick and straightforward and everything plays nice. And that's not always easy.
No, it is definitely not. Just continuing on with that, what the D10 system, why have you what influenced that? Because you developed your own system and roles, but also have kept it similar to what other people have had. What drew you to sort of that aspect of rolling in the game and having the stress?
This starts in the old game, and it was completely different. It was D6, and it was adding the dice together. And when I got to making 12, I decided I wanted something completely different. I didn't want additions. I didn't want people to kind of stack numbers up, because I know that only brings you somewhere where we didn't want to bring this game.
Too much escalation.
I wanted a pool of dice, and I didn't want too many dice as that. And I figured 3 dice were the sweet spot. The D10 is because I wanted the D12 to be important in this game. Because, of course, it's 12, so D12. But if you just roll D12s, it's not as important, I guess. So you roll D10s, and you eventually get your own singular D12. And I guess the D10 kind of does a good job of playing off of this. I just like the D10 also, like the shape.
It's also very good at...
It's a cute dice.
It is cute dice.
It's also very good, I've found, in the playtesting, of being very easy to eyeball difficulty for things, with being able to say, like, you have a 1 through 10 scale that makes it very easy to immediately go, all right, this is what I want it to be at. This is now a little bit higher, a little bit lower. If you're doing that with a D6, it's a little more tricky to appropriately gauge when something is the right difficulty for it.
It has the right granularity for our game, I suppose.
No, I definitely appreciate any game where I don't have to bring like a huge bag of dice with me and have them rolling everywhere.
I will level with you. I use it to play Warhammer Fantasy. I love. There is nothing I love more than a bucket of 20 dice, just like. But there is something to be said about keeping it simple, and with this game, we want to facilitate the game. We don't want the dice to become the focus of the game. The dice are just there to make you play.
No, that is great. Real quick, just sort of going back to the artwork, why did you kind of pick this style to be in the book? This sort of almost cartoony, but not, but still serious with how the demons and such look.
There's 2 answers, I guess.
Yeah.
The easy one, this is my style. And easy enough, I started with comics, with French-style comics. So I have a big, how do I put it? I like the cartoony style. I like this kind of, not so realistic, a bit on the fun side of things. My favorite artists, like Pierre Larry, Olivier Vatin, Mike Mignola, I'm a big fan of Hellboy. All have these streamlined, easy styles, not too busy. I didn't want the style of the game to be visually busy, especially because with such weird demons, weird beings in every page, if all of them are also extremely busy, extremely detailed, that can get heavy, and I want something simple and striking rather than extremely greedy. That would be just too much. The other answer is that this game can get quite hard on people. It can get quite heavy. Having an art style that is a bit lighter, a bit on the funnier side. You know, you have these demons. They can be terrifying, but they can also be rather silly. You know, one of them has a large mouth this big and nothing else on the face. This mouth has teeth this big. It can be terrifying if it's staring at you, but it can also be just huge funny mouth if it's just laughing, it's just prancing around. You know, it can be both, and I think this is important. Again, not being overly negative with things. Also, the art style.
Oh, definitely. Did you have something to add?
It definitely shows up also too in the color choices, with just everything being bright and colorful and vibrant. And that's, in some cases, that can be scary. We've got some pieces of art that use that color striking to be incredibly intimidating. See the Chernobog one, but it can also just be there in terms of making things a little bit brighter to look at, or in some cases making them look like poison dart frogs, and we all know why those are bright.
Oh, that's definitely true. Yeah. I was looking at some of the artwork while I was sitting on the couch with my kids, and I thought my daughter would be terrified. We were actually looking at the piece with that giant smiling demon, and she's like, "What is that? He seems so happy." And I'm like, "Yeah, very happy." So,
He probably is, though. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him, you know? The fact is, demons are, in a way, they are living beings. They are not like us, but they are living beings. They have their own hobbies, they have things that make them happy. And I think this is also part of the whole, of the whole theme of the game. These demons are nothing more, nothing less than parts of you. Just like people, they do what people do.
Yeah, that's something that I've definitely noticed while just reading through the material, is that this isn't one of those games where you're trudging through a dungeon and, oh, there's 5 monsters in this room. It's definitely, I feel like, a more organic evil and battle that isn't lending itself to that. You're fighting these inner demons. You have these creatures that actually have something to them. They're just not natively bad, you know?
No, they're like predators in a way. Not the alien predator, the giant, the big cat predator. Like a tiger in a way. That's what they do, and it's actually not because there is some demons are relatively evil. Some of them are actually not that bad and have like shops that you can actually go to. I feel it's kind of a Persona Shin Megami Tensei thing in a way. But yes, again, demons are living beings. They are more predatory than us, but
but there's something you can interact with.
Good and evil in equal measures as everything. There's also evil people, not just evil demons in this game. So
yeah, it's with the Shin Megami Tensei thing. There's actually a little running thing I've had at least going around with how I've described the game to myself is. Like a little bit of Shin Megami Tensei, a little bit of Silent Hill, a little bit of Psychonauts, and you just kind of blend them. It's a little bit of serious, a little bit of scary, and a dash of comedy.
See, I think that's exactly what we need right now. Just another question. What we've already sort of talked about what makes your guys' game unique, but just for you as a creator, what has been, you feel like, the most unique thing? Ooh, I made them think.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Yes, and it starts. You want to go first? Yeah.
I think at least for me, and this might be just like a thing having been primarily on the GM side of things, I think the most unique factor with this game happens to be the way that it interacts with your villain of the set, which would be, for each game you would have an archdemon. And one of the things that they do is that there's, on each archdemon's page, there's a 12-day calendar of things that happen during those days as a guide of how they approach and interact with the world and the people around you as they get closer to their arrival. But what that means is that every time that you're playing a game, even if this archdemon, the thing that you probably don't see for most of the game, it's in fact seeing it is the game over effectively. When it shows up, you better run if you can. But
I made it very hard to run.
Mm-hmm. The effective thing with it is that even though you don't have a direct interaction with this enemy, you're still feeling the results of it being there. And every day as it gets closer and closer, you get more of a sense of its personality, more of a sense of how it interacts with the players. And the players get more and more of a chance to basically meet and get to know a foe that they haven't actually spoken to. There's only one of them really that even talks out of the base ones we've got in the rule book. And yet it's interesting. I feel like it's a very GM thing because it's something that I find GMing the playtest is very, very fun and very interesting. But on the player end, I don't even know if our players have noticed.
I can say that like the most important thing in that play is a sense of urgency. If there is something, I get so mad whenever we play any other game, and because we've been playing games together for years, I get so mad when the game grinds to a halt. I just can't take it. I just can't take them mulling about or doing nothing. The players kind of not knowing where to put their hands, not knowing what they're doing. That just makes me mad.
Yeah.
It never happens in this game. You're constantly up in your eyeballs in problems and trying to do something. And this is so therapeutic for me. Oh, I just can't get enough of that. I wish every game had something that propels you forward like this. Just
there's always a problem.
A number of time slots, and you have to use those, or you're done. Oh, it makes games go so smooth. It's amazing.
As well, the escalating danger as you progress through those time slots and as you progress through the seals and through the demons that you face.
Oh, yeah.
Things get more dangerous. Things get more panicking. If you fail, then that's a time slot that you no longer have free to help you out. It builds this very nice sense of progression where you're keeping going forward because you know that you've got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, and there's only like one of the games that gives me this, and it's a completely different game. So, and it's Dark Heresy, by the way. Because most of the time you're like, 3 days until the Demons of Chaos destroy this planet. We can destroy it first, maybe. That's the moral victory. So yeah,
gotta get to work.
Whew, yeah. Real quick. Can you guys kind of explain that sort of time slots things?
Yes,
it seems nice. You're like, to reduce stress, I need to rest and, do those types of things. But then there's also that conflict of like, well, I can't rest. I have stuff to do.
Game's name is 12. The big reason is you have exactly 12 days to get everything done, to destroy every seal, to face every issue that you might have. 12 days in total. Every day is 4 action slots. 4 action slots. This one doesn't work. Every action slot, you can do something. You can rest, you can investigate, you can try to acquire different skills, different items that may help you. But the point is, whenever you go investigating, whenever you go actually hunting for seals, you're going to lose stress points because you're going to do things that you don't want. I assure you, you don't want to. You're going to face the demons of the Hell Dimension. It's not something you do on every Sunday afternoon. And so you eventually get to the point where your stress doesn't refill enough with the night, and you have to take a breather. But the more breathers are good, breathers allow you to level up your skills, to get new powers if you're a demon, to practice your hobbies, regain your stress. But it also means you have 1 time slot less on the 48. Or the 48 is not that much. It sounds like a lot, but it's not that much. And every time you stop, you inch slightly closer to that 48 slot that you don't want to see ever again. Now, this game has been calculated. If a party just goes perfectly, they should make it in 9 to 10 days. Like the perfect run is 9 to 10 days. So you have about 8 slots to rest if you do everything well enough. Of course, most people don't for obvious reasons, because the dice, because human mistake, going the wrong way, getting slapped by a huge ass demon that you weren't expecting, as you do. But yeah, it should be totally doable. And yet, every time you rest, you kind of feel this clock ticking.
In
And
addition
it's still
to,
important.
In addition to, there are some human abilities and some demon abilities that also reward different methods of how they handle that clock. Some have an entire thing that gets them extra ability, like that gets them better abilities based on them resting more often. So like when they rest, they get a boost to do something later. That's good, but that means you rested. Yeah. Another one gets a boost based on investigating, but loses it when acting. So they have something that wants them to investigate more than another party who might just have the thing that makes them want to just go full bore and try and clear as much as possible before they crash.
So I guess the important thing, like meta-wise, the meaning of that is losing time is actually healthy. Losing too much time, it might not be that healthy for you, you know? That's the whole point behind the mechanic.
Yeah, that's perfect. Definitely do not procrastinate in this game.
No!
You have to do stuff.
No,
that's a bad idea.
For a while, and I know it's not good.
Yeah. As a GM who has sort of ran this game with playtesters, what have you felt? How have they sort of responded to resting, to the stress levels? Have a lot of them, I feel like, would just want to like keep going, and that resting would be difficult because there's so many of it.
I found it interesting that is very true. They have very much wanted to always keep going and keep trying to do what they can. But I've also found that, especially with the players, the way that this game has a method for how characters gain experience that rewards playing riskily. Specifically, whenever you take a fear test, you gain, either you or your demons gain experience. If you succeed, you gain experience. You've passed your fear, you get a little advantage in the future. If you fail, they gain the experience. They feast on your fear because that's what they eat. But what that means is that it incentivizes them to play very riskily. And so I've found that often it's not so much that they have to go, okay, we need to take a break, and more, oh, we're all almost dead. We need to stop. Take a breather for a minute, keep going, find what we can do. Yeah. And in some cases that'll come in different ways. We've had ones where one character's gotten particularly injured, but the others are fine, and they'll try to figure out a different method of how they can go forward. Instead of going on directly after a seal, they've gone to investigation in hopes of using using everyone else's stress efficiently so that they can then rest to the best of their ability. But in other cases, sometimes they just don't get the option to do that. It's been interesting seeing how players have interacted with it.
With interesting, you mean stealing a boat to steal another boat?
Oh yes, that's the most recent playtest
crashing the boat
involved them stealing a cargo ship.
Not, please? This is all Morgan's fault. I'm so sure.
We have uncovered.
Yeah, she got the rank 2 of the possess objects ability, and she just went off.
Yeah, is it possess objects?
It's manifest too, but it's the one that lets you possess physical objects. And so she's been using that. She's got that and realized, I can just drive the boat with this. And
become a demonic boat. Thief boat.
That's great that that there's the mechanics to kind of solve your problems in a creative way.
Demons can do a lot of weird stuff. I'm going to
say that's the majority of demon abilities.
Yeah, it was the funniest part of the game, I guess, for me, figuring out demon abilities, because you have these beings that don't really interact with reality as we do, and they can do all sorts of crazy stuff. Can they? At the easiest level, they can just like destroy a wall, but when you get into it, they can become a television. They can turn things inside out. They can make animals swarm. They can do all sorts of weird stuff. They can turn themselves into wire. Why not? It certainly rewards creativity with
more
your
so.
power picks.
Even more so with the playtest group in particular, I found that I've seen the playtest group use those powers in creative ways that I hadn't even thought of. I've seen one particular very interesting one was one character there's a power called Grasp with the Abyss, which lets you extend arms or tentacles or something to grab something. And I've seen one of the playtesters use it as a vector to then possess things. So he'll shoot out an arm, use it to bite someone and then possess them, and then jump from them to someone else to cover big chunks of ground or to entangle something. It's impressive seeing what players can do when they think of how their characters, because their demons are something that they've made and have their own style of what they do, can work with relatively open abilities.
That's definitely one of the most rewarding things that I've found is just seeing how other players interact with your game and seeing how they take it to something else that you hadn't thought of. Just
Definitely, yeah.
I
haven't been putting too much attention into the playtest because I'm always working. But whenever I just put an eye on it, I'm just like 5 minutes before I go, okay, what is going on right now? Clearly,
what did you do?
This is not the game I've been working on.
Yep. No plan survives contact with the players.
Oh,
it's true. They will find a way to derail you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, God bless them. The small little greedy arts.
It's so fun. From again, the GM perspective, how easy have you found it to present it to players to kind of explain the mechanics and to just run with it?
I found it very easy. I think the most the most thing that's tripped people up the most has just been getting used to the time system. But even then, that was very simple as to just going, okay, I can tell you, into just telling them, okay, here's your time. Once you've passed enough time, it'll go to the next time slot. I'll let you know when those happen. The dice mechanics have been super easy and straightforward. Generally, it's just been very simple as to having players just have what they once they get a handle on, here's what I can do. They go wild with it.
Yeah, speaking of, I just wanted to kind of a shout out, but the whole time slots thing comes. That's been at least inspired by another game that is Dusk City Outlaws, and I was watching some guy. I was watching LRR plays.
I think so. They did that,
and I was like, this thing is very smart. I should try that sometimes, and it kind of flows naturally into our game and works.
Very similarly, a lot of the early kind of discussions of how this game's system worked is that despite its subject matter, despite its tone, it kind of played like a heist game.
Yeah.
Like it was about it was find the route to your target, get the team together, get your provisions, go, see what you can do.
It's a weird supernatural heist game. Wow, we should do that. We should make a supernatural heist game.
Now there's an idea. But as it's progressed, we've actually added on and still in the process of adding on more options as to different methods of how to deal with the game. Do you not want to play a heist game? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Do you want to? What do the players do when their first instinct upon seeing all this stuff isn't to go and try to find the root of the problem, but to just run away, just bail? Well, we've got a runaway
campaign. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a set of how to play the game using this. If they want to just hole up in a defensible location and try to wait it and try to deal with it as it comes, well, we've got setups for that. Just different methods for how players interact with things.
Because mind you, while most people will tell you it doesn't work, running away from your issues in a constructive way kind of works, in a sense that sometimes you just gotta cut your ties with things and let it go. So just run away, just get out of there.
Especially when your issues
just cut off everything.
Again, especially when your issues aren't ignoring you.
Oh, yeah.
It becomes instead of you going to face your issues, it's your issues coming to show up and deal with you.
And
then you've got to deal with
just let go. Sometimes the fans just let go and go away.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
Yeah, that definitely. Oh, I am so excited to run through this game and to play it.
Yeah.
It just seems like something so different, yet there are those aspects of sort of familiarity that there are. You had mentioned one game that sort of influenced your creation of this. Is there any other games that you feel like have influenced?
Well, yeah, of course. I guess that the White Wolf game series, the whole World of Darkness, we have something to owe to them. We've been playing vampires for a while. Dice pools, similar way, vampiric powers, demon powers, thing by other name. But
yeah.
Do you have something, Sho?
Kind of a route based on that. I also took a lot of, at least how a lot of my understanding of how time mechanics for it worked. I came from like having played some Blades in the Dark and liking how that went.
Yeah.
So that's definitely an inspiration.
But I guess like we've played so many games and they just all collide. So you have the way you buy things in this game. It's influenced by the way you do it in Fantasy Flight games, in the Warhammer 40k Fantasy Flight
Rogue
line.
Trader, Dark Heresy.
Yeah, I am a huge Rogue Trader fan.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a bit of everything in there, sprinkled in on a base game.
Mm-hmm. With anything in this, it's we've been playing so long that with making games comes to finding the bits that you really like and taking them out of the things you don't.
No, that is exactly how most brain creation is. You're just kind of going up the ladder with it. If you were kind of give just like a short little sentence, we're almost running out of time, of just how you would kind of explain your game to someone. Just this, if you only could describe it in a couple words, how would you describe it?
Greek theater? This is Greek theater, the game. This is Greek drama, the game. Yeah,
drama, the game.
I'm sold. Greek drama, the game. You have the classic structure of the Greek tragedy. You have catharsis at the end. Deus ex machina, as many as you want. Let's go. Yeah. I just reinvented Greek theater. Deal with it.
It worked. Yeah.
Shades.
I'll put those on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess for me, I would kind of describe it as it's like, I want to say it is a game about dealing with your problems, sometimes physically and with demonic power.
Yeah, it's what you gotta do.
See, that's what catches me right there. We will be having a live playthrough of the game on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. EST on twitch.tv/Penny for a Tale. And there's going to be more content coming out in the future. So make sure that you follow Witch and Crafts on their Facebook page, as well as any of their other social media. I'll link it on the page so you guys could get that. But do you guys sort of have any advice for people that are trying to get into the sort of indie game development field? It's such a difficult thing to do, but you guys have been doing it, it seems like, with such grace, and you have such an amazing and great product that it just seems like you guys are kind of living the dream as you kind of get this through.
I'm gonna give
You're like the nightmare.
I'm gonna give you what basically comes from my comics background, what we were often told, great artists, great game designers, there is so many of them. You can just grab into the crowd, do this, and you'll find like 10 of them. So many people can be great game designers, but the drive to do it, the drive to get there and work constantly, do nothing but work, to the point that people will start worrying that you're not going out, you're not seeing anyone, and I had people tell me that it wasn't healthy and I should go to see a doctor because I was doing nothing, where I was in fact working. Yeah, that's the kind of drive that you need to have. You need to come to terms with the fact that this is what you'll be doing. and you'll be doing only this as long until it's finished. And when it's finished, you get to work on the next one.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You just passion isn't just the only thing you need. You need to be able to work tirelessly without stopping, accept that what you do might be wrong and people will criticize it, and this is okay. Just don't stop working. Don't stop working.
It's about what I was going to echo. It's passion will only take you so far as your dedication will too.
That's perfect.
You got to keep at it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means figuring out a new way to go about it, or listening to someone's, finding some criticism and trying to see where that comes from. Sometimes it means just buckling down and saying, all right, I've got to put in all these words tonight. I got to do this today and this tomorrow and this the next day, and just go for it.
Yeah, and it definitely comes through in the game. You could pick up sort of the quick guide on Drive-Thru RPG right now. And you can see just sort of the care and the passion that you guys have put into this, and each piece of art, it fits perfectly, you know, and just down to like the text and the flavor text. Like, this is something you guys didn't throw together. It's been well thought through and just cared for, you know. And
playing to the strength of your team is important, I guess. When I started building this, I started trying to get people who I knew had certain strength. I did a Mass Effect 2 on this. I was just like, I need one person who does fluff well. I need one person who can write a lot without stopping. I need one person who can give me outputs when I give them inputs. Just get all these people together and let them work on what they are good at.
Great. So it's not just one person doing everything. You guys are able to come together.
Exactly.
And it's come together in something amazing. Again, I'll link it on the video, but it's at the Kickstarter for 12 Inner Demons. Definitely check it out. There's 24 days left in the Kickstarter.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Bunch of time.
There is a bunch of time to back it. And how long have you guys been working on this before we run out of time?
I think it was about February when we started. When we started in earnest, I think it was about February. I was putting the team together around December, but February is when we really started getting at it.
Around December was about when we were like discussing ideas and talking about just general kind of stuff.
Of course, I've been drawing the arts for much, much longer. But that's more or less
your poor hands. Yeah. No, it's great. And then it's exciting because even at the $15 level, you guys get that PDF copy, complete with the stretch goals and extra resources, which is an amazing thing.
As the book stands right now, the playtest copy, which is the thing on Drive-Thru RPG right now, it's about 90 pages. It's pretty respectable. It is about half of the current book,
it's half of the content,
minus any of the stretch goals or any of the extra stuff. There's probably more. It's probably going to be larger.
But, the more you give, the more we will give. More demons. You want more playable demons. You want more traumas. You want more graded demons. You want the Exorcist campaign. Just play as people who want to kick demons in the card. We got you. We got you. Just
the more we can do, the more we can do.
Yourself,
Yeah. And I'm excited because one of the stretch goals is the campaign is reversed.
Yes.
Right? And I was like, oh, that would be so great.
You got to play the Exorcists, and that's going to be fun.
Yeah. So real quick, do you guys have any shout outs, any things you want to say as we close out?
We haven't gotten much help until you guys came along, so there's really not much shout outs. I guess the guys at Freeze's Discord have been really nice and helping me out, even though they have nothing to do with traditional games. So shout out to them. If you're listening, guys, I love you. That's about it.
And then I'd say shout outs to the other two members of our team, Victoria and Ian. They're not here right now, but they've been doing good.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad to have them there.
I'm sure we'll get their beautiful faces around here sometime. Yeah.
Maybe, eventually.
Maybe. They won't stay hidden from me. I'll get
I will level with you. I don't even know what Ian looks like, so we've been working together for months.
Oh my goodness. See, this is what will happen. We'll bring you guys together and just do this reveal.
Oh,
It'll be a
nice.
beautiful thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no.
Oh, no, this is great. So again, I will link the Kickstarter and all of Witch and Craft social media sort of platforms so that you guys could follow them, interact with them. They have been super responsive with anyone that has kind of come forward with questions. And if you want to see the amazing art, it is there on their Facebook page. They give you like little teasers so that you can check it out.
Yeah, also
yeah.
Twitter. We post a lot of art on Twitter and Instagram, yeah, of course.
Yeah, all those sites. And yeah, we're excited for this. We'll have our first live playthrough at Penny for a Tale on Tuesday, 8:30 EST. And after that, again, look for more content because it is going to be coming. Yeah. Anything else, guys?
No, it's fine.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for having us on.
Shout out to the person that's giving me his home to do this
Yes.
because I don't have a webcam. So thanks, Adnan.
Shout out to that guy.
It's my main man.
Great.
And that's it.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Thank you. All right, so we are going to sign off, and we hope to see you guys soon on Tuesday for the playtest.
Sure.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you.
Yeah.